she just looked at me. She didn't even take any tests. She didn't do any blood work. She just looked at me and said, you should start taking birth control. I kind of fought her back, and I was like, well, I don't want to take birth control because I know that it's just going to be a band-aid to the wound that actually needs to be healed. How I cleared my hormonal acne. Before you watch this video, here's the number one thing on how you're actually going to change your skin. If you're not willing to change your lifestyle, then this is not the video for you, and anything I tell you is just not going to work. Throughout this video, I'm going to be putting up pictures because I have all the receipts of what my skin used to look like. So growing up and in the beginning of middle school, honestly, all throughout middle school, I did not have any acne. Even in high school, I didn't have acne until my junior year. Once my junior year started and COVID happened, because COVID happened during my junior year, I started to develop acne on my face. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. But my mom would consistently say that I had something on my face and that we need to get it taken care of, and that she thought I had food sensitivities and food allergies. Now, mind you, I did not really care about what I ate. I would eat whatever I wanted. I would eat hot Cheetos, I'd have donuts, I'd have cereal, I would have dairy in moderation, but I would still have dairy even though I knew I wasn't supposed to eat it. So I knew what the issue was. I just didn't want to admit that I couldn't eat the things that I wanted, and I don't think anybody wants to admit to that or commit to that because that sucks. So from there, I decided to go and see a homeopathic doctor, which is a holistic, non-over-the-counter drugs doctor. And from there, they confirmed what I already knew I was allergic or had sensitivities to. So I remember leaving the doctor's office and I was just sad because I had food allergies to artificial sweeteners, artificial colors, soy, yeast. I couldn't have a lot of chips or certain kinds of dishes because they had yeast or seed oils. I could not have teriyaki sauce. What else? I couldn't have anything processed because my body had so much from me just not caring over the years that it was starting, what was happening internally was starting to show externally, and that was only the beginning of it. So really, it wasn't that bad. My skin wasn't that bad starting off. And I just full on quit eating all of the stuff I was allergic to. Even though it was really difficult and it sucked, and I had to train my taste buds to not always get what they wanted, I just completely cut everything off because I wanted to have clear skin. So my skin, after cutting off all the food, actually got worse. And the reason why I think it got worse, obviously I'm not a medical professional, but this is why I think it got worse, was because my body needed to purge all of the crap and all of the toxins that I was consuming for so many years, that the outlet that it used was my skin, and it completely just threw off my hormones because I had an overproduction of crap in my body. Though I cut all of those foods out, like I said before, my skin got worse. And it wasn't just pimples, but it was under the skin acne that could not come out unless you punctured it with like a needle or something with a dermatologist or with an esthetician. But I had cystic acne. So if a pimple were to form, I would pop it and it would legit turn purple. So if I tried to cover it with makeup, you could not cover that thing. And I remember the time where my skin was the absolute worst. I chose not to wear makeup, was because I wanted to be an example to other girls that though your skin may not look the way you want it to, that has nothing to do with your beauty. I was still very confident. I knew I was beautiful. I knew that though my face wasn't where I wanted to be, that didn't change anything, because for me, and I don't know what you believe in, but for me, I found my identity in Christ. That though things may not look the way I want them to, that it doesn't matter, because what matters most is who God says I am. Not what I think about myself, not what other people may think, but what He says. And because I knew that this was just temporary. I knew I was still beautiful. I knew it would go away. So even now, though my skin is more clear than it was back then, I do not value myself more now because my skin is clear. I was starting to try different things to help all this chaos that was happening on my face. I got facials, I did chemical peels, I got creams from the dermatologist, none of it worked. I had an experience with an esthetician that literally traumatized my face. And I don't use words lightly unless they're real, but I remember I got a facial and she shouldn't have been touching my face. And it was when I had really bad cystic acne and my acne was angry and my face was inflamed. I did a hydrofacial. With hydrofacials, they go over your skin with a small little round machine, and they go over your skin to put hyaluronic acid, salicylic acid, different acids on your face that will help your skin. Even the machine going over my face hurt. So I knew that once she starts doing extractions, because that's what they do the acids, and then they do extractions, and then they do some masks to help with the open wounds not to get infected. Not infected, but it turns into a pimple. An infection would be a pimple. But yeah, I remember specifically down here, I can still remember the pain. It hurt so bad that my face does not forget the pain. And that stopped me from getting facials for almost a year because my skin was traumatized to how painful that facial was. I waited a year, and now I went to a different esthetician and finally took a chance and trusted her, and she did a hydrofacial, and it did not hurt. Shout out to Gigi. Gigi is my girl. If you live in Las Vegas and you need an esthetician, hit me up and I will send you her information. She's incredible, and she will not do something that your skin cannot handle. I got creams from the dermatologist. None of it worked, and each dermatologist told me to start taking Accutane. And the last thing that I would ever do is take Accutane. I did not want to take it. If you've taken it before, you've taken it, and I'm sure that you have probably seen some effects that it leaves. But with Accutane, I don't know what it is, but I can tell based off of somebody's skin texture if they've taken Accutane or not, because it's just dry. And I know people that have done Accutane and their lips are always dry. Their skin is more prone to being dry. Their scalp is dry. So I already knew that I did not want to take it, let alone did I want to put my body through that process. So if you've done it, you've done it. It's done already. You can't change that. It's okay. So how do you get better from there and improve your skin from there, right? So I did not want to take Accutane, but the one thing that I did do was I started taking birth control. I went to the gynecologist. I was so scared to go. I'm gonna say this, okay. I went to the gynecologist and I was so scared to go because I was like 16 or 17. And I was scared that they were gonna do like the pap smear. I was scared. I was so scared that they were gonna do a pap smear. I don't know why I thought that they needed to do that. But I ended up going, and she just looked at me. She didn't even take any tests. She didn't do any blood work. She just looked at me and said, you should start taking birth control. So I kind of fought her back, and I was like, well, I don't want to take birth control because I know that it's just going to be a Band-Aid to the wound that actually needs to be healed. But I did it anyway because I wanted my skin to be clear. So I took a very, very low dosage of birth control. Like it wouldn't, like if I got pregnant or something, somehow it wouldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. So I took a very low dosage of birth control, and it worked for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months. It started to help clear it a little bit, but it was still coming back. It didn't work, and it didn't heal the problem after I had been taking it for almost a year. One of the things that really helped me during that time where my skin was red, it was angry, and my face was inflamed is that I did cryotherapy, but for my face. So what they had me do was I would sit underneath a blue light for 30 minutes, and then they would use the cryotherapy machine and blast cold air on my face. And though it was cold, honestly, it was kind of relaxing, but it helped calm that redness, calm the inflammation, and my skin didn't look as angry anymore. After I cut out all the bad food that I wasn't supposed to be eating and I stopped taking the birth control was when I started to see some signs of my skin actually getting clear. So the mistake that I made was I thought that because my skin was getting better, I could start reintroducing processed food, fast food, cheese, dairy, sugars, everything. And that's exactly what I did. I started to reintroduce those foods, and my lifestyle was changing. I was now going from being homeschooled and could control everything that I ate, and I still could control everything I ate, but I was now going to a Bible college where people are eating out and they're doing things after our church events. So I wanted to be a part of that. So I would go there and I'm hungry and I would eat the food that the restaurant had, which the best quality of food you're going to get is going to be at your home. Even if you go to a very healthy restaurant, you don't know what they're putting in the food. Even if they tell you, you don't know. So it's better to just eat at home if you're trying to get your skin to a point where you are more comfortable with it. So from there, I had like a relapse. My skin just started getting worse, and I continued to just eat the food that I wanted to eat. So it didn't go back to the point that it was at before, but it still wasn't where I wanted it to be. After I finished a year of the program that I was doing at my church, I then entered into a second year of that program. That was when I started to have more self-control with what I wanted to eat because I had a goal in mind, and that was to clear my skin. For lunch, I started to bring food. I would say no to eating out as much, or I would bring snacks with me so that if I were to get hungry or if I wanted to go out somewhere, that I would have some sort of snack to eat. I started to see my skin clearing up, but I still had problems. My skin barrier was messed up and my skin was super dry because of all the treatments that I had done. I did chemical peels, I did facials, and I used to pick my skin. So there was a lot of friction that was happening. There was a lot of tearing of the skin that was happening, and it was everywhere. So my skin barrier was very damaged. It was so damaged that even when I would put makeup on, it just wouldn't sit right. It wouldn't be smooth. So I started to do some research on what skincare products I could invest in to repair my skin barrier. When I did that and I found the product that worked for me, my skin barrier completely changed. Makeup was able to sit on my skin. The redness had decreased. My face would actually have like a healthy glow to it. And from there, I was like, dang, this really worked. So then I started to look for more, and all of the skincare was Korean skincare, and it saved my skin. Though I had all of those products, I still would notice here and there something would pop up, and my skin just wasn't at the point that I wanted it to be. So I continued to test different foods to see what I had the biggest reaction to. I love Italian food, and I don't think I could ever give up Italian food. I love it. So what I do now is I eat things in moderation. So if I know that one week I'm gonna go out to a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, I'm gonna do pretty good with the rest of my food for the week so that it's not too extreme and too overpowering for my gut to have this pasta with maybe cheese or whatever sauce is in it, that I can actually sit there, eat it, and enjoy it. So that's what I started to do. I started to think ahead of what my week was gonna look like and plan, okay, if I know I'm gonna eat out, I have to eat clean for the rest of the week. So even with doing that, I still had acne. And this was when I started realizing, okay, certain foods really trigger me. This is something that's wrong with my gut. So I started to take the seed probiotics and listen. Out of everything that you take from this video, take the seed probiotics. Just take them. because they help repair your gut. And usually with hormonal acne, you can help hormonal acne with your diet. So if you have an overproduction of testosterone, which is usually why we see a lot of acne specifically in this area, is usually because you have a lot of testosterone. So you need to eat foods that bring up your estrogen levels, and vice versa. If you have a lot of estrogen, you need to eat more food that brings your testosterone level higher, and that is controlled through the food you eat. Now, not everyone is the same. Maybe you do have to take a certain medication. Everyone's body is different, but I know for me, that is what worked. That I am able to control the way my skin looks by the food that I eat. And it's not easy. You have to have a lot of self-control. So if I eat a donut, if I were to eat a full donut right now, I would probably have 3 or 4 under the skin acne, hormonal acne, cystic acne that will turn into a pimple maybe months down the line or will never come up. So for me, it was my food and I had to get that down. Now what I do is I'm consistent with my skincare routine and I have all the products that helped with my skin barrier. And I put niacinamide on my face to help get rid of the marks that I had from the cystic acne and whatever's left over from pimples. So this whole process of clearing my skin was from 2020 to today. To where now, after 4 years, I'm sorry if I'm letting you down by telling you this, but I gotta tell you the reality. After 4 years, my skin is now to the point where it's been consistently looking better, but that's on me. I wasn't consistent with my diet. I wasn't taking anything to help my gut. And some of it was because I didn't know, but a lot of it was that I just didn't want to. In order to have clear skin, depending on the person, you might need to do the extreme and you might not be able to enjoy everything that you want to eat. But hey, that's just another way to develop self-control in your life. And now there are so many different alternatives that you can do, and you can make a lot of the dishes that you eat outside, you can make them at home. I have a ton of snacks that I can recommend if you want them. They're actually good. I don't eat trash snacks. They're good. But I have chocolates. I still like chocolate, but it's a dark chocolate that is made with vanilla bean and it tastes like milk chocolate. So I have so many alternatives to the food that I used to eat that now I don't even crave those foods. And if I were to have a donut, I can only have a bite because it's just so much sugar. So my taste buds have become desensitized and I have an alternative to all the foods that I used to eat. So the mindset that continues to help me to stick to this lifestyle is thinking about what I want most versus what I want now. So that is the summary of how I cleared my cystic acne. It's almost clear. It's at the point where I am so content with it. And I don't know if you'll be able to really see it, but I do have scarring on my cheeks. When I smile, I can see it on this cheek specifically. I do plan on getting microneedling to help with the scarring, but I do have after effects from me picking my face and from all of those facials. So I would recommend, do not pick your face. I know it's hard. It's easier said than done. I mean, I still do it. But if you're going to do it, get pimple patches. Pop the pimple. I don't recommend you pop the pimple, but if you're going to pop the pimple, clean it up, put the pimple patch over, just so it can act as like a layer of protection, and then leave it alone. So that is the summary. I would love to answer questions because I'm sure you have many. Leave them in the comments, and I hope this video helped you.